Every time I hear someone talk about the transformation that is occurring in higher education, the revolution that is MOOCs or online learning, I have this vision of a particular technological innovation of the 1980s. And I can see it below my parents' television. And I brought it with me to share with you today. It is this Jane Fonda workout video. Jane Fonda was the revolution of the 1980s. Her series of workout videos were #1 in video sales every year through the 1980s. They sold 17 million copies of this workout video. It was as if the problem with fitness in America is that we didn't realize that you're capable of exercising at home. This was a blockbuster, and we today are a lazier and fatter nation than we have ever been. This is an important reminder when we hear all the stories about the transformation of higher education. It feels sometimes when I see these stories as if we didn't realize that we have a printing press now, we have libraries, and we even have the internet, as if convenience is the barrier to people educating themselves. But really, the biggest barrier to education is very similar to the biggest barrier to fitness and health in America, and that is our human tendency towards slothfulness and procrastination. When our brain analyzes an issue, thinks through a problem, when we write about something, the reason you're pulling your hair out when you're trying to write that memo is your brain is actually exercising in much the way that your body is exercising when you are on that treadmill. By exercising your brain, you are getting stronger, you're getting more adept, like aerobics and Pilates and step and all of these other inventions. It tones and strengthens your mind. It is very rewarding when you do it, but it is exhausting. And so as humans who are trying to preserve our strength for when the tiger is about to jump on us, or preserving that fat in our bodies for the winter when we don't have food, we have a natural tendency to avoid and resist the work that it takes to do the learning. If I were to have a screen here and put a graph or an equation up there, some of you would actually concentrate on it and do the analyzing in your brain. Many of you, probably most of you like me, would just wait for the speaker to tell you what it means, so you don't have to do the work. It happens to me anytime somebody puts a poem up. I'm not going to be able to analyze it. And so I just wait for them to tell me what it means. How many people here are members of a gym? How many people go to the gym? Okay. A good number. Why do we go to a gym? Anybody have an answer? Why do you go to a gym? You might say, okay, there's the equipment. But the biggest reason that you go to the gym is because if you try to exercise at home, you will wimp out. You go to a place where there is a social norm. If you go to a gym and don't exercise, you're either a pervert or a loser. So you go to a place where if I'm not exercising, I can't be here. It forces you to actually exercise. And you also know, if you don't have a respectable resistance on that machine, the next person's going to go, and who was that? And they're going to give you a funny look. So a college is kind of like a gym. A residential college is like an extreme gym, like a fat camp that you go where you surround yourself with those norms, the peers who are the inspiration, some peers who can sympathize with you in your struggle and your effort to get better at things. And these are all tricks to counteract that natural tendency towards slothfulness and procrastination that we have. Courses in college are not designed so that they will be inconvenient. A lot of what we hear about advances in education is we're making it convenient. Courses were designed as another kind of trick. It's a commitment device, like a New Year's resolution. It's saying, instead of just waking up every day and say, should I do some schoolwork today and go to a class? Instead, you say in advance, you're asked to commit to what you know you want long-term, what you know is good for you, which is, I will show up prepared for class every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 o'clock for an hour and a half. It's a commitment device. It doesn't always work, but it works a lot better than trying to make the decision every day about whether to exercise your brain that particular day. So the problem is not the availability of knowledge. It is how to get the right kind of sustained student interaction with knowledge, exercising the brain regularly and in the right ways. That is what a good teacher does. Yes, a teacher provides information, but also the best teachers probe, they prompt discussion, their assignments are creative and help people think. They provide feedback on writing assignments. They assign rewriting, yes, quizzes and grades. It is like a personal trainer who is pushing you to go a little bit further than you even thought you could, and then you feel good about it and you want to do it and you want to commit to even more. So the idea that MOOCs, especially the concept of putting lectures up on the internet, will somehow change education is rather ludicrous. The kind of motivation that you need for higher education is difficult to achieve online. But there's a big however here. I cannot assure you that the kind of learning that we need is happening in our traditional colleges and universities. You can go into a gym and you can tell whether people are actually exercising. A lot of colleges you go in and you can't tell whether people are actually doing anything other than watching the video. The lecture and regurgitation approach that we tend to have at our colleges and universities, it happens because it is less taxing. It is less taxing for the professors. It is less taxing for the students. So there is little internal pressure inside a college or university to do more than lecture and regurgitation. So let me throw out a couple of ideas about what we can maybe do about this to improve education, whether it is provided online or live and in person at a college or university. And it's always nice to have an enemy. So let me pick one. So I'm going to pick a little enemy here, and it is college professor rating sites. If you go on a college professor rating site, one of the things that you will see is students' ratings of the easiness of the professor's classes. I picked one out. This was a political science professor. This student wrote, he cares about students, he's funny, he's a good lecturer, he's cute. The rating out of 5, he had 4s and 5s in helpfulness. This is a helpful professor, but not recommended by the students who were rating this professor. And why? Because, and I quote, makes assignments difficult to, and these are the derisive quotes, to make you think. You will tear your hair out, is what this person said. This is what we want faculty members to do, to make students think. Another person said, questions are not always clear. Well, people love clear questions, or queer questions, but clear questions like, what did Bob just say? These kind of regurgitation kind of questions feel great because I can then repeat it. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I am right. I get a good grade. Wonderful. I'm done. As if you exercised on that machine and did a great job. It is the unclear questions, the nuances, that is what higher education is ultimately about, what we need in our workforce. The dynamic here of these evaluations is that it also means that the faculty themselves have an incentive to make their courses easy so that students enroll in those courses. A professor once told me that when a course in their department was in danger of being eliminated, all they did was give more A's and suddenly the course was one that plenty people were signing up for, and it was no longer in danger of being eliminated by the college. So we need to find a way, and maybe it's simply a matter of reversing the dynamics of professor ratings by telling students that along with your GPA, we're going to have the percentage of difficult rated courses that you took included on your transcript to make students think again about whether to choose. Or you could have grading distributions that indicate whether you're taking just courses where pretty much everyone is guaranteed an A. My other suggestion of an area we might work on is related to MOOCs. We had a bill in California that got a whole lot of attention earlier this year to require colleges in the state to accept MOOC credits. Now, this would be very hazardous if the courses are a cheap replacement for something that really is a really good education. It could be useful if it forces faculty out of their lecture and regurgitation practices by telling them, look, we can get lectures here. What are you doing in your classroom that is about the interaction with the learning, the actual exercising? Now, that bill has been dramatically reduced to just some funding for the colleges to prepare online courses, and with some good reason. We don't want to have a situation where we by telling a college they have to accept some credits, it means that the college is no longer responsible for the quality of their own degrees. And that is going too far in terms of a change in higher education. That could really come back to bite us. But what if we were to get some independent expert evaluations of the rigor and depth, the actual student work that is occurring in courses as part of the evaluation of whether this online course or community college course is as good as the course at the University of California, at a California State University course. It doesn't necessarily have to be required for that college to accept those credits, but by doing the evaluation, you create a dynamic where the colleges have to show that, in fact, what they say about the rigor of their courses is true. Maybe it will result in them reconsidering the transfer of those courses, and we can improve transfer, or it will cause them to see that they perhaps are not engaging in the type of education that we should have in this country, and they will have to make changes to those courses and improve college. They need to show that those courses are better than simply watching the Jane Fonda video. Thank you very much.